Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dion. I call this the crazy troll nation of YouTube. The crazy playing and makeup and doing stuff like this. Seriously, that was being serious though. Part of the crazy is just enjoying doing videos, enjoying whatever it is that you do here on YouTube, and knowing it's okay to be your authentic self, not feeling like or thinking you should act like someone else or act in a way that isn't really in your character. Just be you. And the troll part is not caring too much about the beauty community standards. You set the standard for yourself. Try not to feel like you need to use a certain brand or a certain tool or a certain technique. Use whatever you want to, however you want to get your makeup on in a way that you are satisfied with it. You set the standard for yourself. Here at the Crazy Troll Nation, what we stand for is self-acceptance and self-love. Embracing your natural features, enhancing them if you want to, when you want to, but never feeling like you have to. Love yourself for who you are and for how you look, even without face paint on. I also need to let you know I do curse sometimes in videos because I curse sometimes, period. If this is your first time here, hello and welcome. And if you're returning, what's up, my troll fam? I appreciate each and every one of you for watching. Comments are always welcome. There is a lot of information down below as well. So let's just get to it. You see from the title, we're talking about being a conscientious consumer, and it is something that I strive to do. I have notes. Hopefully I'll stay on track. I'm looking at my notes. So we're going to see. Because y'all know sometimes I just go off the rails. And we roll with it. We just keep roll with it. We're going to do whatever needs to be done. And hopefully what I'm saying will make sense. And even if it really doesn't, those of you who have been rocking with me for a while, I think y'all still will know what I'm saying because we speak troll together. Like we're in this together. So I often say I strive to be a conscientious consumer. I seldom purchase on impulse. There are those times, once in a silver gray lined purple center moon, where I will just be like, oh. And sometimes it works out well and then sometimes it doesn't. But I try to really think about quite a few things. But we're going to, let's talk about that part. Well, no, let me stick with it because I have an A side and a B side. So as far as being a conscientious consumer, is paying attention to what we want to buy, why we want to buy it. Do we have a clear conscience about what we're purchasing? Because when we purchase things, we are supporting that brand to a certain extent. For some of us, and for me, for the most part, I don't know, I can't say that. For some of us, it's just makeup. We buy what we want. And even if there's a lot of controversy, why am I having problems with C words today? When there's a brand that's surrounded by a lot of drama, since I'm having trouble with the C words, let's go with the D word. Some people are like, I'm staying away from the brand. It's messy. I don't like who they're associating with as far as promotion and things like that. And it's all whatever you can have a clear conscience about. And so, but there are things that I think about after the fact. Like for me, it is just makeup. But I feel weird talking about Instagram because I am weaning off of Instagram. I'm not leaving Instagram, but as far as posting and doing reels, flat lays and stuff, because every other month, like clockwork, something happens to my account. I'm temporarily banned, temporarily restricted. I get hacked. And the most recent one, Instagram cleared it up within like a couple hours. They deleted the account that was impersonating me. But I'm still just like every other month, like literally, y'all. And I'm just like this. And so I haven't trusted Instagram for a long time. And that's why I don't post a lot, which it probably seems like I do. But even as far as scrolling and supporting other people, and part of me feels bad. This is not about what this video is about. Part of me does feel bad knowing I'm not going to post and that I'm going to be weaning off of it. I still will use it, for communicating in DMs, but I feel bad for those who do like actively support my Instagram. But I need to weigh that against the frustration. And social media to me, makeup is supposed to be fun. And so I have gotten some really encouraging comments and understanding comments. I support your decision. I would do the same thing because it is a lot of stuff that goes on with your account. And so I do appreciate that. But I'll see as time goes on, like if I miss it, do I want to go back and start posting again? But as of right now, January 23rd, I'm just like, and y'all know I live here on YouTube, so, and I know there are other social media platforms. I'm not downloading another social media platform. I'm just not. And so it'll just be YouTube and post on Twitter, which I don't even know if that's making a difference anywhere, but anyway, I still am on Instagram. So if you want to DM and we can continue communicating that way, it's fine. And so how did we get to the Instagram thing? Because when I would scroll, or if I'm reading something, or a brand would post something because they're about to release something new, I do read the comments, some of them. And if there's something that multiple people are commenting about, I'm like, oh, what's going on over here? Like, I don't seek out controversial stuff, but when I start seeing it repeatedly and it's the same brand, then I'm like, okay, wait a minute. And then what happens is I start to go down a rabbit hole, and then that takes the joy out of it, of whatever, if I was interested in purchasing it. And so my number one on here is, how much do we want to know? If you strive to be a conscientious consumer, like, how much do you really want to know about a brand? And some people feel like, brands are their friends. It's a business, y'all. And their business is to make money. And if you feel like you're friends with them and y'all have a good relationship, to them it's still business. It is still business. And I hear a lot about people are just picking on small brands, and I don't think that's true. What I think happens is, excuse me for that sniff, is people come for Pat McGrath. Why the hell's another pink palette? Why she put out this new quad? 3 of the shades is in the palette she just came out with, a couple months ago. Natasha Denona, oh my gosh, she came out with a grayscale palette. Circle Loco, that looks crazy. So it's not just small brands. I think with the larger brands, they just don't say much about it. I do dislike that whoever is doing Pat's Instagram, they will like block people and delete comments, and they'll comment or heart, the positive stuff. But if there's constructive criticism, like, it'd be great if y'all did something other than pinks, if y'all did another, grungy powder, whatever, they don't respond to those. And so that somebody's looking at it because they're hearting other stuff. They're commenting back to the good stuff, but they're completely ignoring the negative stuff. So I'm like, that's kind of immature and petty in my opinion, especially from a business standpoint, but whatevs. They're going to keep making what sells. And Natasha Denona, she does her thing. Danessa, I haven't heard anything negative about Danessa. Her brand, I should say. But it's like, how much do we want to know about what's going on? And for me, because I have sensitivities and allergies and reactions to different things, it is important for me to know. And I'm going to talk about Nomad. And going back to smaller brands, what I think part of the issue, because I think there's a lot of moving parts to this, because they're smaller brands, it might be a 1-person team, 2-person team, 3-person team, or whatever, because it is so personal to them. It's their job. It's something that they're working to grow. So when they hear constructive criticism or negative feedback, they take it personal, like it's an attack on them, which is not. Somebody can say the meanest thing to you, but if you sit and think about it, there may be a little something in there that you can be like, yeah, I can work on that and do better. You see what I'm saying? And so I think that's one of the issues with smaller brands, is that they take it personal, where if you have larger brands and you have a huge team, they're just like, we just want to keep doing what we're doing. Like, we ain't got time for that. But when it's a smaller brand, I think it hits harder to them mentally and emotionally, and then they start commenting back, or they start doing posts, and then it's like the more posts they do, the more questions come up and the more drama. It just keeps it going. And I was thinking about Mascara Gate. She never even addressed that. Like, she did. And people were like the queen of unbothered. Like, it was clearly like, girl, us who've been wearing makeup a while, we know those is fake lashes. But some people really didn't. And so I'm like, so you're like preying on the naivete of some people. And then that mascara was selling like crazy because they're like, will it really do that? It can't be that bad. It can't be that good. So either way, people are buying it. So how they say bad press is still good press. You know what I mean? And so I think, that is part of the issue, is that some of the smaller brands take it personal. And even when I say that, I think of small brands like Nomad. It started with 2 people, a husband and wife team. I have not seen any drama with Nomad. I have not seen any drama. And I don't know how old people are. Maybe it's a maturity thing. I don't know. But what I like, one of the many things I like about Nomad, all the information is on the website and it's on the packaging. It tells you where the lab is. It tells you where stuff was made from. It tells you if it's pressed pigments or not. They give you all the information. And some of these smaller brands, watch my video on Inslee Rain. Information was not on the website, but it's on a palette. And that was one of my issues with, I have a video about Adept Cosmetics back in the day. And, Sydney Grace, which were wonderful, by the way. But it's just, and Adept isn't a small brand either, and neither is Sydney Grace. But how much do we want to know? I want to know where, honestly, I don't care where stuff is coming from. I do acknowledge, for me, with Pat McGrath, for me, there is a quality difference between what's made over in Italy and what's made not over in Italy. But then some people, it's relative, like they don't care. And we have different preferences for what we like. So they may prefer, the stuff made in the U.S., whereas for me, with Pat's formula, I prefer, the Italian stuff. But how much do you want to know? Like, do you care about the ingredients? Do you care where the factory is? Do you care if stuff is hand pressed? Like, do you care about whatever? So like, how much do you want to know? And for me to be a conscientious consumer, I need to know certain things. I need to know not only just ingredients, but is it FDA approved? And sometimes it may have to do with where it's manufactured. And then I also think about, are we entitled as consumers to know the behind the scenes? I love that Lethal, they'll show in the factory pushing out the product and then smoothing it out and pressing it down, and then it's like they hold up the pan. I love seeing that, but are we entitled to that? I think they're the only brand I've seen on Instagram that does that, and I love it because it's like they're showing you how they're putting this shadow in this pan. But are we entitled to that? And with smaller brands, I think because they sometimes are more personable, they're more interactive, I think people start to feel like, well, we have a right to know, what's going on. But then sometimes it can bite them in the ass, because if you're doing a pre-release, it'll be out in 2 weeks, and then 3 weeks coming, oh, we're still waiting on shipping. And the 4th week comes along, okay, we hope to have it next week. And it's just like, y'all, like, just extend it. Instead of saying 2 weeks, be like up to a month. So you won't have to do those posts saying why stuff is being delayed. And most of the comments are really good. Thank you for letting us know, that type of thing, which I do think is good. They let us know. But in my mind, I'm like, just extend it. Don't say between, 2 to 3 weeks. Just be like 4 to 6 weeks. And then people be like, oh, it got here early. Instead of, okay, they're late again. You see what I'm saying? But, are we entitled to that information? If you've spent your money and you're paying attention to the time frame they gave, then yes, I do feel like you need to know that. But as far as the ins and outs of everyday business, like, we hand press, we make our own formulas, we mix our pigments, are we entitled to that? And does it really matter? Like, do you really care? I don't care if it's hand pressed. Like I don't. And so, but that's just me. So the first question is, how much do we want to know, and do we feel entitled? And I think sometimes that's where some of the anger and frustration can come in, and the people asking more and more questions and questions, and when are you going to address this? When are you going to do that? Da, 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 da. Girl, go sit down. Dude, sit down. Person, human being, just chill out. And if the brand gets to it, they get to it. If they don't, they don't. And then you make a choice if you're going to still rock with them or not. It's really that simple. You choose with your dollars. You choose where to spend your money. The third thing I have on here is, what is brand transparency? I went down a rabbit hole. What is brand transparency? How far does it go? Where is the information? Is it on a website? Is it on a packaging? Or is it both? And when I say transparency, how far does it go? That would be like, okay, if I had a cold and I'm like, oh, I'd just be like, and I'll just say, yeah, I'm just not feeling well today. I'm going to just rest for a while. That's being transparent. It's true. I don't feel well and I'm going to rest. How far does the transparency go? Oh, yeah, girl, I caught this cold 2 days ago and my nose is stopped up and snot is coming down my nose and I keep coughing and hacking. Like, how far do you want to go? Like, how much do you really need to know? Do you want like all the little details? And if so, don't you have other stuff to do? Like than to be trying to dig in for this stuff? This is not a reality TV show where people just be acting crazy and wilding out, and people love it because they love drama. But as far as brand transparency, like how far does it go? How transparent do you think they need to be? Because I do honestly believe they tell us what they feel we should know. And they're transparent to let us know what's going on. But then sometimes stuff is a little convoluted too. And that's the rabbit hole that I was talking about. When something starts to stick out to me, and then I'm like, okay, that doesn't make sense. Like, I'm cool until one little thing doesn't make sense. And then I'm like, wait, what? So then I go down a rabbit hole. I do. And I realized going down rabbit holes, it causes me to start picking apart different pieces of what was said or what was written. And sometimes it doesn't make sense. Or like one thing, they're explaining it, but it doesn't explain it. So it's like, what? It's like when somebody asks you a question, or no, well, for me, it happens quite a bit. I'll ask someone a question, they'll answer, but they're not answering the question. And so there's times I'll say, yeah, I hear you say such and such, but that's not what I asked you. What I asked you was, and then I'll repeat the question, and then they'll actually answer the question. And so that happens sometimes where people are saying stuff, or a brand will put out a post about something, but it's not addressing what the issue is that people were wanting to be addressed. And so, and some people, they're like, oh, thank you for being transparent, da da da. And I'm like, but that didn't really answer the situation. And that's because I'm already in the rabbit hole. And other people pick up on it too. They're like, thank you, but you didn't, you know what I'm saying? And so it's like, how much do you want to know? And are we entitled to it? I do think brands have responsibility to let us know stuff, because if as consumers, we're possible consumers, we're asking for stuff. If they want us to buy it, they're going to have to answer. That's just how it goes. Or just wait until it blows over and people forget about it. I want to talk about, as far as transparency, I want to talk about, what do we really know about terminology? I found out something. Joss, if you're watching, thank you. She commented on, I'm not even going to say what video, because I don't want y'all to be like trying to find it, because I don't want to, But what do we really know about terminology? I learned something from her comment. I was like, huh? And I'm not going to say I did my research, because when people, I'm not doing my dissertation. That's research. Or if you're doing your thesis for your master's program, that's research. So when people talk about I did my research, girl, dude, person, human being, all you did was Google for like 3 minutes. And so I'm going to say I did a Google search. I'm not going to be like, oh, I did research. I Googled and I looked at what I call relevant websites, not like just the blogs or, you know, some gossip thing or something. And when I'm looking up medical stuff, I do look at WebMD, I look at the CDC, you know, stuff like that, or research articles. I don't just look at just, you know, because people can blog about anything. That doesn't make it legitimate. You know what I'm saying? So, but what I learned was, and what I think is that when a phrase or a term is used often, it sounds good, people pick up on it, and so more people keep saying it, and then us as consumers, we go along with it because you have all these people saying the same thing. One of my pet peeves, I've mentioned it quite a few times, and I'm gonna mention it again for those who are new. The back of a pallet has an open container, and it has a number and a letter. This is Dee Dee's signature, one of her skewer palettes. The open container has 18M. The period after opening, and you see it, is open. The period after opening that this should still be good for is 18 months. People, the majority of people, say, oh, the shelf life is 18 months. That isn't shelf life. Shelf life, it would be closed. And if it sits on the shelf 18 months after it was manufactured, it should be trash. It's open. It should be good at least 18 months after you open it. And so that's one of my pet peeves. And I've done a video dedicated to talking about period after opening, PAO versus shelf life. And every time I hear someone be like, oh, the shelf life is 12 months, I'm like, that's not what shelf life is. Because it could have been sitting at the factory or, you know, in storage for 6 months, and then you buy it and you're saying shelf life is 12 months. If the shelf life was really 12 months, it should be on its way dying 6 months after you receive it because it's been sitting on the shelf for 6 months before you got it. So it is a difference. And it irks me every single time I hear somebody review something, oh, the shelf life. I'm like, that is not the shelf life. And so, but I think because so many people have said it, that's what other people say without looking it up. You can do your research, Google. You can Google period after opening versus shelf life, and it'll tell you what I just told you. It's different. And I'm saying this to say, ooh, my chin. Private label. Google it. Google private label versus white label in cosmetics or for cosmetics. Private label is not what the majority of us think it is. We think private label is stuff is pre-made. You can buy that product. You can package it in your, you know, compact, put your little emblem on there, and this is your product. That's what we've been hearing private label is. That is not what private label is. That's white label. White label is we got it, we'll sell it to you. You can repackage it and sell it and put your name on it. That's white label. Private label is something is formulated specifically for you, specifically for your brand. It cannot be purchased by anybody else unless you sell it because it's yours. That's private label. It's private. It's yours. And so even when I'm hearing brands saying we're no longer private label, we formulate our own products, that's not what private label is. And again, I think because so many people just keep saying it, we just start saying it too without looking up what it really is. And so if you haven't heard it before, private label is something specifically made for you, where you make it yourself. White label is when you buy something and you package it as your own. Google it. And what I appreciated was there were some other people that were like, that's not what private label is, like under comments, under other posts. And it was somebody's video. I commented, and they were like, wow, because she had said that she was confused about it too, because she keeps saying private label is you buy it and you repackage it as your own. But she said when she looked into it, it was the opposite. So she was confused. And so we had a few exchanges, in the comment section under her video. And I said what I just told y'all. I think people just say things so much that we just think that that's what it is. But then when we really look it up, it's the opposite. So then we're like, so why do people keep saying this? Because they didn't look it up. And there was a brand that did a post about it. And somebody had said, that's not what private label is. And so the brand said, oh, we used the wrong term. How do you did this whole entire post about you used to be private label, but you're not, blah, 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 blah. And then you say you used the wrong term. Like it could be an oversight. I understand it. We're humans. We make mistakes. We read stuff and sometimes we scan it. We read it one way and that's not what it says. But I'm just like, as a consumer, like just look up stuff. Google it, y'all. We all have I think we all have phones, tablets, laptops, computers, whatever. Just Google it. Private label is not buying something already made and repackaging it as your own. That's white label. Google it. You're welcome. The next thing I have on here is, does location matter? Is it manufactured in the United States? Is it manufactured in China? And one of my struggles too is when I'm hearing, oh, such and such brand hand presses their stuff. The brand is in the US, but it's manufactured in China. So what are you doing? Like you're hand pressing your stuff and then you're sending it all over to China for them to put into a pallet, for them to send it back. It may be, because maybe that's why shipping takes so long to get to the consumer, because it has to go around in that circle. I don't know. But those are one of the things where I'm just like, what? But then as I keep going down the rabbit hole, only certain products of theirs are hand pressed. Other stuff is made somewhere else. And so I'm just like, but that's not clear. And so some things aren't clear to me until I go down the rabbit hole, because then it's like I'm connecting dots and it's like, oh, okay, this is what's really happening. And then at that point, I don't even want to buy from the brand, because why should I have to be digging for all this information? Like, just be clear. Just be clear. Instead of picking out the things, oh, we hand press, we hand make, we do this, we do that, but it's only like certain things. Like what? Because I don't think most people will really read all the details. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't know if that's just like a marketing ploy, because they know most people won't just read all the things. But it's just kind of disheartening in a way, and also sad in a way, that there's information there that we're just missing because we don't look it up, or we trust the brand to say what something is or what something isn't. And I do get it, because for me, I want makeup be fun. I want to look at something, read about it on their website, get it, and it's exactly what they said it was, and I put it on, it doesn't irritate my lids, and the look comes out bomb, and I'm like, yeah, y'all, we did the damn thing, and not get it in the mail and be like, fuck. Or if I go down the rabbit hole, I'm going to just come out the rabbit hole and keep going. I'm not even going to go back and purchase anything, because I'm just so, like, there's no joy in having done all of that. It's just like, I wanted to just be fun. But anyway, that's just me. This is just me talking here. And I don't care really like where the labs are, unless it's labs that are known to be non-sanitary and, all of that stuff. But, the lab in China, the lab in Italy, manufactured, I don't care about that. I really don't. What I care about is the quality. And so, but again, I do notice, for me, Pat McGrath's Italian stuff, to me, is a different quality. I'm not going to say better or worse, because it's subjective to what you like. But I have noticed that the quality is different, and other people have noticed it as well. Not different enough where they're like, ugh, but they're like, yeah, it's a little bit different. But really, I don't care where stuff is made. And so just say where it's made. I mean, some people will care, and then some people won't. And we justify what we want. If we want to purchase something, we're going to purchase it. Period. It doesn't care what anybody says. It doesn't care, if there's lack of information. It doesn't care if 99 people out of 100 think a brand is shady. If we want something, we're going to buy it, and we're going to do videos on it. We're going to do posts about it. We're going to talk about it. We might even try and get an affiliate code. We might even try and get PR. And what it boils down to, and it's neither good nor bad. Ethics and morals differ among people. Again, I'm not saying it's good or bad, because some people are like, I'm not supporting that brand because girl, dude, human being, and other people are like, but it's pretty and it works well. So it's like whatever you want to do, whatever you can have a clear conscience about, that's what you do. So now we're going to talk about me. I've talked about this in another video, but since we're here, we're going to talk about it here as well. What do I look for in makeup? What value do I place on it? What is it worth to me monetarily? At this point, I may have decluttered some of my Pat McGrath palettes. Clutch your pearls, grab your nuts, guard your nuggets, all of that, whatever you need to do to be okay with what I just said. They're $128. I'll buy them 30% off for $90 and some change, or 40% off, $77 and some change. I live in the state of Delaware. We don't pay tax when we order stuff. And for her website, shipping is free. So either $90 or $77. That's what it's worth to me. I'm not paying $128 because I know it's going to be a sale coming. And even if it wasn't a sale, I would be saving the points, coupon code, something. I'm not paying $128. And even for Natasha Denona's $129 palettes, I don't pay full price for them either. So what something is worth to you is what it's worth to you. And for some people, they think about the return on the investment. If they're a review channel, and they're known for certain things, they're going to buy the pre-release, which means they're paying full price. But then, they have codes that you can use and they'll, earn commission and blah, blah, blah. And if they are monetized and they are a larger channel here on YouTube, they will earn money just from you watching their videos. And so that's a return on their investment. Like, yes, they're paying full price, but then they're earning a little bit of change too on the side. So it may, I'm not going to say balance out, because I don't think it'll zero out like how much they spend, but then maybe it does. Like if they're huge and this is their job and they're living off of it, then yeah, it balances out at some point where in the end, they're not coming out of pocket. In the end, they're making profit. And so I do understand that. But for us regular, typical consumers, it's worth what we think it's worth. And I've heard some people say, I would never spend $128 for a palette. And I'm like, you don't have to. Get it on 40% off. It's $77 and some change. But even with that, they're like, no, I'm going to stick with, whatever else. And I'm like, whatever you're comfortable with. You know what I'm saying? There is no right or wrong. It's whatever you're comfortable with. But it's what value we place on it. And I used to feel bad about, okay, if I don't use up as much of this product as possible, I feel like I'm wasting money. And someone said to me, this was over a year ago, they said they don't look at it as wasting money. They look at it as, did they get their money's worth out of it? And that's subjective. And so like Divine Rose Mothership 7, I'm decluttering that one. It might already be in my Mercari store. My Mercari link is below. There's other stuff in there too. And when they said that to me, it made sense. And Mothership number 7, Divine Rose, I ran through that palette. I did 5, 6 looks, 7 looks, paired it a few times. Like I used the hell out of it. And so I feel like I got my money's worth out of it. You know what I'm saying? Because I use it a lot and it still looks brand new. It's a wonderful palette. But so for me, it's like, what value do I put on it? And does it still excite me? And if something excites me, for how long? I'm still excited about the Xenon palette, like for real. And the Yucca palette, like seriously, I really am. And my Notoriously Morbid, the newer ones that I got. And I'm still excited about Mothman. I've had that for a while now. And I'm still hell excited about Martine Cosmetics 669, and I had that for almost 2 years. And so, and those are palettes that do call to me. And so when I'm looking at what I have, I'm feeling like I want to declutter or downsize, I think about, does it excite me? Am I still excited? When I see a new palette and I'm like, wow, I think about, is that really unique to my collection? Like, how long do I anticipate having this over this new thing? You know what I mean? And I don't buy a lot. And so it's not like every new shiny thing I'm like, oh, I need that, I need that, I need that. I don't think makeup is a need. I think it's a luxury to have. And so I don't feel like, oh, I gotta have it. I don't. I think about, do I have something similar? And if I do, it's like, I'll just use that. And I also think about, how realistic is it that I'm going to use it for a prolonged period of time? Case in point, Sunlit Seduction Mothership. I have not even counted how many times throughout the videos with it that I've said it's a keeper for now. I knew in my soul it was just a matter of time before I was going to be like, I'm done. I ran through it like I did Divine Rose, but it was just something about it that I knew for now. And when that time comes, then it got to go. I think about, before purchasing things, does it fit into one of my aesthetics? I like colorful. I like grunge. The messy grunge, not the cute grunge. I like the messy grunge. I like dark. I like smoky. But I also do like color too. So when I see palettes, I'm like, that's pretty, but I don't like, a whole palette of just light tones. And I'm darn sure not buying like a pastel palette, because most pastels, the majority of pastels, they look dusty and ashy on me. So even though something can be pretty, I'm like, that's not what I like. I like dark, smoky, messy grunge, colorful. And I don't do colorful like this often, because I look at a palette and I'm like, I don't know what to do with the colors. And so I experiment, and this is what we come up with. I'm like, wow, this is bomb. And so it does encourage me to do more stuff like this, to experiment more, because I think this is like a really bomb ass look here, And so, but I think about, does it fit my aesthetic, or do I just want it because it's pretty? And if you buy everything that's shiny, everything that's pretty, every new release, the question I want you to ask yourself is why? Why do you feel so compelled to do that? No judgment whatsoever. I just want you to ask yourself that. If you have a massive makeup collection and you still keep buying more stuff, and you have palettes you've purchased and received 6 months ago and you haven't used those yet, and you're still buying more and more, the question is why? And I get it. It's exciting. I told one of my uncles one time, I said, there's something unnaturally satisfying about clicking place order. And he laughed. I said, no, seriously, it is just something unnaturally satisfying about place order. And even though I might not get it for a week, just that moment, I don't know if it's a dopamine spike or something, or it's like, oh, I just purchased this. I don't have it yet unless I go pick it up at the store. But it's just like, it's just something about it. And so maybe that's what it is. It's just that excitement of place order, or, oh, let me just go to the store and get this. Oh, this released today. Let me rush and go get that. Oh, pre-order. Let me get that. So it may just be that. But then if that's it, like, is there anything else that you can do in your life that will give you that same excitement and be healthy? Because I do think for me it was unnaturally it was just unnatural, like how excited it was for me to just click place order. And it's just like, why? So for me, I thought about what's going on in me or in my life that me clicking place order, what void is that filling for me? That's what I thought about. I'm gonna leave that there, because I feel like I'm about to go into clinical mode and I don't want to do that. I also think about, does it serve a functional purpose? Meaning, it's not just going to sit there and I'm looking at it like, oh wow, that's so pretty. Is it going to be functional? Does it have a purpose? Am I going to use it? Am I going to enjoy using it? Why? Why is it here? And that's why I don't like dupes in my collection. Didn't experiment today. This is one lip gloss over here. This is a different one over here. You can't even tell. And so, they're both keepers for now. And I will use them for days when I just want something simple, which I usually prefer a black lip. Actually, I always prefer a black lip, but just to like put something like this over like a dark liquid lipstick, just to add some shine. So that's what these will be for. But yeah, this is different than this side. Look at it. It's the same damn thing. But and I do try hard not to have dupes, and I thought it was going to be a dupe. I said, let's just see, because this one I had gotten as a free gift for something. So I'm like, okay, I didn't pay for it. I'll open it. I'll try it. Even though I have had it maybe like 4 months unopened, because I was thinking to give it away. But, you know, I do like that product from that brand. And so I'm like, I held on to it. And finally, I'm like, you know what? It might look like this. Let me see. It looks exactly like it. But now I know this one is the more expensive one. Don't get this one unless it's like 40% off. Get this one. And even with this one on sale, like 30% off, it's still way cheaper than this one at 30 or 40% off. So, you know, it helps me know for the future, like what to purchase or not to purchase. I think about it, and I just kind of spoke about it. I think about if I have similar color stories, because I don't like dupes in my collection, which is different than backups, Jasmine. Okay, she called me on one of her videos like, Dion, if you're watching this, I know you don't like dupes. But what she was talking about was something that she keeps stocked because it's a staple item. I keep stock of staple items. Let me show you something. Fenty eyebrow pencil, the only eyebrow pencil I use. Look where I'm at. And I just opened this not too long ago. You see that teeny tiny little nub? I maybe have 2 uses out of this. When Fenty had their 40% off sale, 30% off sale, whatever, I bought backups. I lie to you not. I have at least 6 of these because I run through them in a couple months. And so backups of staple items, stuff that I do use, and that's the only brow pencil I use, I go through that like crazy. Primers, foundations, eyeliners for lower lash line. I got backups. So yes, Jasmine, I don't like dupes in my collection. But I do buy backups of staple items. I do. So where are we at now? When do I back away from a brand? This goes into the rabbit hole stuff before. Like, even if I'm interested in a brand, once I'm turned off by it because of, you know, rabbit hole information, I'm just like, y'all, this isn't fun for me hanging out with y'all. And so I will just back away. And even if I have a product or two from that brand that I enjoy, I just won't talk about it. And there's something, certain brushes I use, I'm like, this brush that shall not be named. Because I do understand that when we use something, or if we say, oh, this is, you know, Fenty 230 brush, somebody might be like, oh, wow, she uses that a lot. That must mean she likes it. And then they might be interested in buying it, or might be influenced to buy it. And so if I'm naming a brush that I don't like, I don't want to promote that. And even though it's not an official promotion, I'm not getting paid for it. It's not sponsored. The video is not an ad or anything like that. But we do that. We watch videos and we're like, wow, like they use this a lot. I'm going to, you know, I'm interested in that. Or, wow, she uses this and always looks really nice. And so that's why sometimes I don't mention things. Or I'll be like, such and such that shall not be named. Because I don't want it to seem like I'm endorsing it in a way. Yeah, I was going to talk about that Hourglass cheap ass brush, but we're not. But anyway, so that's when I back away from a brand, excuse me, is when the joy I have is displaced by the drama. And I don't go looking for it, just scrolling through Instagram. It's just like, oh my gosh, which I won't be scrolling as much anymore, at least for a while. And then I thought about, is ignorance bliss? And not ignorant as in, you know, being stupid, but the ignorance of just not knowing. Like, would it have been better if I had not known the drama? Because then I can still be excited and have joy about this brand or this product. Because once I find out all the stuff, and then because of the rabbit hole, I'm finding out more stuff, I'm like, I don't even want to be over there no more. So is ignorance bliss? And for me, I am good at compartmentalizing. And so it would make sense that, okay, this drama's going on. I still like the product, I'm going to get it. But for me, my mind is like, because the joy is gone, I'm just like, no. And so I'll just back away. And the last thing on here is receiving PR or having a partnership or goal. For some people it is. PR is nice when a brand contacts you. I was gonna say a reputable brand, but I don't know how that sounds, but I already done said it. When I received the PR from DD Signature, I was excited because I don't have palettes like that, but doing the looks, I do have similar colors. Because even looking at this one, Circle Local has a green, it has this shade, it has like a deep bluish purple. And so once I start using a palette, I'm like, you know what? I maybe can do this with something else. But it is nice to try new things, and especially if it's free. And then if you end up liking it, it's like, oh, thank you again. You know what I'm saying? And so, but it's not my personal goal. And to be honest with you, that was one of the reasons why I stayed on Instagram or stayed active on Instagram that long, is because brands, they look at how many followers do you have, how many YouTube subscribers do you have, how many TikTok followers do you have, you know, because some brands have affiliate programs, and when you apply for it, it'll say, you know, list all your platforms, because they're going to look it up and see how many people you might potentially influence if they send you their stuff and you use it. You see what I'm saying? And some have it already out. It's like YouTube channel, list your channel, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok. They have it listed out for you just to plug in your channel. And I'm just like, I ain't doing all that. And 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 so that was one of that was a secondary reason. The primary reason I stayed doing there that long is because I like seeing the looks. I like seeing things that I'm not good at: graphic liner looks, colorful eyeshadow looks, different shapes, wing eyeshadow, you know, bold lip colors, you know, the graphic art on the face. And it's just like, wow. And the people that, you know, I'm cool with, you know, some of us, you know, we DM back and forth a couple times a week. Some of us, it might be, you know, once a month, and we'll just have like a chat for like 2 hours in the DMs. And so I stayed for that reason, for that interaction. And I know there's this whole thing about parasocial relationships and how well do you know somebody, you just chatting with them over a social media platform. But sometimes you just get a feeling like in your heart and in your gut. And sometimes you do just click with people. I remember when Lynette and I, because we would chat every now and then. And she doesn't live here in the state that I live in. And I'm like, well, when you come visit, you know, we got to meet up and take our obligatory, you know, Instagram picture and all of that. And she was like, yeah, definitely. And honestly, I was just like, yeah, I don't know if she really mean that. You know what I mean? Because you don't know. Because we just chat, you know, off and on, you know, for years on social media. And, you know, one day she messaged me. She was like, hey, I'm going to be in your area. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, damn, like she was serious. And we met up and we just clicked, y'all. It was so fucking cool. And we did take pictures. We both posted, you know, on our Instagrams. We had such a good time, y'all. And I'm just like, wow. And so it's really cool when that happens. And then, you know, sometimes you meet people and it's just like, it was fun. It was interesting. But it is always interesting, like when you have these social media, you know, friendships, using the word friendship loosely because you don't know. But when you actually meet someone in person, and it's just like, wow. Because the first thing is like, oh my gosh, like you're really like a real human being here in flesh and blood standing in front of me. So it's usually that like, oh my God, like you're really like right here. And it usually goes both ways too, because it's always like a, wow, like everyone I've met, and it hasn't been a lot of people, but the few people from social media platforms that I met in person, we were both just like, for like 10 seconds. And then it's like, oh my gosh. And then you do the hug and then you talk and then you go wherever you're going to go eat and sit down and chit chat. But it's, that was so fucking cool though when I met Lynette. I was just like, wow, she is so friggin' cool. We had such a good time. And so we already know when she come back to my area, we're going to hang out again. That was really cool. And there is someone here in Delaware where we did meet up and we hung out, and that was really cool. But it's so it can be strange when people talk about, social media, friendships, or whatever, or they're like, oh, me and so we talk every day, but it's just like, what are you talking about? And even saying that though, there's a few people, we chat pretty regularly, and for me, it's deeper than, oh yeah, I bought this palette, what'd you buy? Like when we get into, or we just organically become comfortable talking about different life situations, what's going on, and really sharing each other's lives with each other, that's special, and it's important to further that bond. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't. So it's not something to force. It's just, if it happens organically, it does. And I'm just like way off of what I was talking about. So we're talking about partnerships, or having goals, receiving PR. I don't even know how we got all the way over there. How did we even get over there? Oh, because of why I stayed on Instagram. Because of the people that, we chat and, we support each other's work, comment, hearts, and, sharing people's stuff. The secondary reason was because I know brands do want to see how many people are following you. And I will say this too about my Instagram. Every time something has happened, which literally is like every other month, literally, people do unfollow me. And when I'm banned, or if I'm hacked, or if someone's impersonating my account, I understand why they just unfollow. Because it's like, at that point, you just get confused. Like, well, you know what? I don't know if this is really her. I've been watching her content, for 6 months, but now this happened. So they just block and delete everything that has something similar to my username in it. So I do get it. And so in that sense, it's like, okay, that's not helping brands to see my follower count if people keep unfollowing because of the drama. And so, but the most recent thing, I was just like, I'm just over the frustration. Literally every other month, something with my Instagram was happening that I had no control over. And it's like, what the hell are y'all doing? But anyway, and so it's not a goal for me to receive PR. When that company from California contacted me to do a partnership video, that was a very interesting experience, and it was a good experience. That was a very eye-opening experience, and I am glad to have had that experience. I think realistically with me about PR, I am not the ideal candidate to receive PR, because I was going to say because I'm older, but there are some brands, Prime Cosmetics being one of them, that are targeted towards mature skin, which I don't even really understand what that is, because I'm 54 and people be like, oh, I thought you were in your 30s. And so like, what does mature skin look like? I don't know. Yeah, I don't understand that. Like, seriously, I don't. And also I have, sensitivities and different allergies. I can't just put anything that people use as eyeshadow on their lids or my lids and use it as an eyeshadow. And so with a lot of brands using pressed pigments as eye products, I'm not able to do that. And so I'm not a candidate for a lot of these companies, for a lot of these brands, because I'm not able to safely use what they're making. There was a brand a while ago that messaged me. I would love to send you my palette. I'm keeping my PR list small. I'm just, messaging people who, I do actually enjoy their content, blah, blah, blah. And then she says, I hope you're okay with, and after I said yes, because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is great. And then she messages back, I hope you're okay with pressed pigments. I said, well, actually, my lids don't tolerate pressed pigments. And the majority of the palette was. So I said, I'll use, because she had already mailed it. So I said, well, I'll just use what I can and then pass it on to someone I know who can use pressed pigments on their eyelids. And that was the last that person contacted me for PR. And I understand it, because why send me something I'm not able to use? You see what I'm saying? And even, skin-wise, I'm allergic to different things, or I just get breakouts or whatever. So I am not a candidate for PR. Maybe a product here or there, but it's just like, and so I'm just being realistic. And I'm not saying that it won't happen or that it can't happen, because it can happen. But it's just like, why send her something that she may not possibly be able to use it? Like they want to send stuff to people who can use it so they can promote it, and then it'll increase their sales. You know what I'm saying? So it's a business. It's a business, and that's kind of where we started with this whole thing, is that it's a business. So would I like to receive PR? I'll say it depends. Because it depends on, because I don't want to just say yes to stuff just to have stuff. And when someone does contact me, I'm just like, I don't think I'm a good fit. Somebody contacted me for eyelashes. I don't wear false lashes. So I'm like, no, yeah, I'm not a good person to send that to. And there was another company, Colored Contacts. I don't know. I wear regular contacts, prescription lenses. So no. But there are some people that would be like, oh yeah, just to get stuff. And I'm just like, nah. So, is it a good fit? Whoever's contacting me, I think about, is it a good fit? And some of them are bold. They're like, we're following up because we messaged you, we didn't hear back. And I'm just like, somebody messaged me for like jewelry stuff. This is all the jewelry I wear. My 2 class rings. This is my master's ring. This is my doctorate ring. And I got 6 carats on my wrist over here. That's all the jewelry I wear. So no, I'm not a good candidate to wear your stuff, because I'm not just going to wear it just because you sent it when it's not something I would normally do anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to come out of myself just for free product. You know what I'm saying? And there are people who will. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. And this goes back to, ethics and morals are different. I don't want to promote something if it's not something I would use anyway. And that's what PR is, promotional marketing. And so that's kind of, here nor there in a sense, because yeah, I would like it, but then I'm kind of picky too, because I don't want to waste a brand's time. And I also don't want my face to slide off either. So so that's where that is. Now, like, I would love PR from Notoriously Morbid. I would love PR from Lethal. I would love PR from Natasha Denona. You got to be way up there to get something from Natasha, and for Pat, for that matter. Like, you so that's not even a dream. It's just like, that's a fantasy. That's what that is. So there are some brands. Esom for their vegan brushes, because my lids don't tolerate, neither does my face. My face also doesn't tolerate natural hair brushes, but I do use quite a bit of Esom brushes and the Fenty brushes. So like stuff like that, yeah. Sephora, if they want to send me some more of their lip cream stain liquid lipsticks, they sent me a PR bundle way back. It was like it was their clean collection. It was the whole collection. And something was missing or something was leaking. So they sent me a second whole, and I'm like, no. So I said, if you want to just send like the one thing, they were like, no, we want you to experience. So they sent me the whole thing all over again. So I'm like, okay, there's a lot of people going to be receiving this stuff. And someone I know was building her makeup kit. I gave her one whole kit. I'm just like, here. It was like a whole thing, and I was going to link the video, but I'm not. It's an older video, but they sent like this whole big, it was literally a whole case, and you open it, and it was like their whole entire clean collection that they were coming out with. And I was just like, shoot. Some of the products I liked, some was not my vibe, but Sephora collection stuff, for the most part, I think it is good. But anyway, so that was a lot of fun, and they contacted me for that, and I'm just like, oh, okay. And so that was really interesting. So I'm saying that to say, it's not that it would never happen again, or like the partnership with that California company, but it's not a goal of mine. Call me unambitious if you want to, or whatever. My time is my own, and I like doing what I want to do when I want to do it. And I officially retired myself. And so I don't want makeup to be work. I don't aspire for YouTube to be my job. Being monetized, I mean, it helps. It is pennies, like seriously, it's pennies like per video. But still, it's a little something. And then the membership, if you're interested in that, that's a little bit more. When you guys use my links, you know, that's a little bit. So like a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here, a little bit there. And that's fine, because it was never my goal to be like the next big viral YouTube channel, million followers, subscribers, or whatever. But anyway, so we talked about a whole lot of things, y'all. Being a conscientious consumer, how much do we want to know? Are we entitled to know what happens behind the scenes? We talked about brand transparency and how far does it go? Which goes back to how much do we want to know? How much do they want to tell us? Where do they put the information? Do we even care? What do we know about terminology? Google stuff, y'all. Just Google stuff, because some stuff people are saying, it's like, that ain't what it is. But then for me, it's like, once I know, I'm just like, people still saying it, that ain't what it is. But then I know that they don't know. You know what I'm saying? Does location matter where something is made? And ethics and morals are different for different people. As far as your makeup stuff, and I'm trying to figure out, I don't want to call it my makeup collection anymore. So I'm trying to think of what to call it. So if you guys have ideas on what to call my makeup stuffs, let me know down below. Y'all been thinking on that? Yeah, I don't know. And you know I want to put the word troll in there somewhere, but I haven't figured that out yet. So as far as my stuffs, you know, what's the monetary value I place on it? Does it excite me? How realistic is it that I'm going to use it? Does it fit my aesthetic? Which goes into, you know, how realistic is it that I'm going to use it? Does it serve a purpose? Is it unique to my collection? Do I have similar things? When do I back away from a brand? And is receiving PR, partnerships, and sponsorships a goal? So those are all the things that we talked about today. I know it was a lot. Comments are welcome. Comment as you're watching if you want to, because I know we've spoken about a whole lot of things. And you know what? I might schedule this as a premiere. So then, yeah, y'all can comment and I can comment back to you while we're both watching this long ass thing. If we do, well, for premieres, you'll see how long it is, will you? I don't know. Right now I'm looking at an hour and 2 minutes, but I am going to go. But yeah, definitely leave your comments about all of this stuff, because this is a lot, and it's all about being a conscientious consumer. The first part was brand related stuff, and the other part was about us, what our views and thoughts are as we're considering purchasing or consuming something, versus the first part, which is what is the brand doing. So we talked about what the brand might be doing, and then we talked about what we're going to do and how we're going to be more conscientious in our consumption of makeup. So let me know your thoughts on this. Let me know definitely if it was thought-provoking for you, which is the goal of this, is to share information and for us just to chit-chat about it. Feel free to share my videos, like, subscribe, share, join, like all of that stuff. And again, there's lots of links below. We are going to go. And I appreciate you for being here. If you've made it this far, thank you. Because y'all know I gets on a roll and we was rolling. So as always, self-acceptance, self-love, that is the Crazy Troll Nation way. Thank you, and you will see me soon.